Hi, Stockholm. I think coming into this topic, it's important we first start with a frame of mind. I'm going through what I think I would call a traditional company. It's a company that started out doing something that's not software, and eventually came to rely on software as a core part of their business and their value stream. The opposite to that, which I'll cover in a second, is a software native company that was software driven from the very beginning and started with it. And a lot of the traditional companies, I go and visit them as a consultant, they'll always tell me, we're software driven, we're hyper innovative, technology-based companies. In the back of my mind, I go, SHIT, I've heard this before. And they always have some version of optimizing output of a known size. They think they can predict everything, and so they use things such as Gantt charts and stage gate and other similar processes in the upfront estimation. And those are really sort of the key predictors that I'm dealing with a traditional company, because they're really focused on just doing what they think they already know. The flip side of that is sort of the software mentality, where we instead look at optimizing the learning of unknowns. So rather than thinking we have the truth, we look at how can we just learn very, very quickly so that we can figure out what makes the most sense. Usually at the heart of that, we see experimentation. And on the management side, we see things such as lean and OKRs, so not hard targets, but sort of moving in a general direction. And on the technology side, we'll see things such as DevOps and cloud. And those are really enablers for this sort of approach. Coming back to our traditional company, a lot of them seem to approach it with the transformation. Sometimes it's the Agile transformation, where they have in the top corner, they have a roadmap, they have some department for budgeting, they have a whole bunch of things, and this is the IT strategy. And in the top right corner, that's where we do the IT and software, right? That's where we're Agile, but the rest of the business isn't. And then usually I come in the picture and they go, we're trying to buy a DevOps. That's something you know what is, right? And then a couple of weeks will pass and they'll excitedly write back to me, yeah, we bought a DevOps. Azure DevOps, so we're doing it, right? And usually then they'll come back like 2-3 weeks later, and these are the things that I see that they've sort of messed up in the process, right? So the first problem that we encounter is that they tend to just take this new paradigm, and they do no training whatsoever, right? Just throw the engineers at it and say, you're doing the thing, let's not train you, because what if we train you and you leave? To which I always respond, well, what if you don't train them and they stay? And honestly, most of the problems you face as an organization just comes from the fact that you've thrown people for the lions and they've had no chance to adjust to it. And this leads to a whole bunch of dilemmas. And so platform engineering has sort of become this new topic that we're all very hyped about. And in the old days, before platform engineering, we have the developer who's on the left, very obviously a developer, and the sysadmin on the right, or operator. I know the wrinkles aren't there. I didn't have the time to paint them in. I'm sorry. But you'd make a ticket and you'd hand it over to the operator, and they'd sort of make something happen, a server, a network, or whatever. And now platform engineering, a whole bunch of these companies, typically traditional companies, they will slap an API in front of their ticketing desk and be like, now we're doing it, right? We've automated the queuing system so that IT can now have even more tickets that they'll never get around to solving, because you need our permission to do anything, really. Similarly, going on with hybrid clouds, you'll have this thing where you have a little bit of on-prem still, even while you're moving in the cloud, and they must follow the same process. Yeah? Makes perfect sense, right? Let's run ITIL in the cloud. Let's try to keep up with how many servers we have running in the cloud. And whenever I tell these people, that's great, I spun up like 1,600 pods today, and then I took them away again, they don't get really happy. Because keeping up with that is almost impossible. But they insist on having the same process. Similarly, we have a bunch of enterprise architects who make one diagram to rule them all, and in Kafka bind them, because 9 Kubernetes clusters were given to the interns who craved power among all, right? But like the point here is you don't have to do everything the exact same. You can really leverage the cloud for different tooling that fits different problems. You don't have to do Kubernetes everywhere. It's fine to do a proof of concept in just a server and call it a day, right? And then finally, we have compliance and security, which seems to be the last place where these companies tend to fail. They'll go and they'll buy the cloud. They'll say, now we finally have a really cool car, but we're going really fast and we don't know what to do with that. So let's make sure we're braking all the time. We'll take the car and load it back on the horse carriage. So now we're sure we'll never go faster than 20. Yeah? And then, a little bit along the way, they go, okay, maybe we could start driving the car again. What if we just pull the handbrakes so that we're sure we're not going any more than 20? But the point of having brakes is not to brake all the time. It's to be able to go 120 on the highway and then brake when something's important and in your way, right? And I think the reason this happens, honestly, is because DevOps and platform engineering are a paradigm shift. And you're coming in with this thinking your existing processes, your existing approach is going to hold up to this, and it just doesn't. You don't take the time to learn. You don't take the time to improve and differentiate your processes. You just take what you've always done, and then you move it over and say, now we're doing it. Yeah? Now we're DevOps. Now we're cloud. Now we're whatever. But it's not a goal, it's a platform shift. Thank you guys very much. You've been a wonderful audience.